Welcome everyone to Straight Up with Deborah Walter. Let me try to get myself together a little bit. All right, welcome to another Sunday with Straight Up with Deborah Walter. I was trying to, determine, what would be the best thing to talk about based on what's going on in the world today. What would be most beneficial, to try to talk through and give everyone some type of guidance. And, like I love to receive your feedback as well. And so today, where I landed is the No Judgment Zone. Now, I know you guys are probably familiar with that statement. I think it's one of the gyms I won't name, but I know they have what you call a No Judgment Zone. And today we're going to apply that same thought principle, or that same principle to life in general. We're going to apply it to day-to-day people that we may interact with, people that we may have close relationships with, people we may just, that may just be our co-workers. Crap, it could be our children. It could be anything that we typically would just pass judgment on. So today on Straight Up with Deborah Walter, on this beautiful, beautiful Sunday, and to remind everyone, I am here every Sunday at 2 p.m. Eastern. We're going to talk about the No Judgment Zone. Now, for, just to kick things off, what I like to think about, or what comes to mind for me when it comes to judgment. Judgment to me is when you can look at, it don't even have to be an individual. It doesn't have to be an individual. It could be just about anything. And judgment to me is when you have a thought process or a thought form towards something that does not necessarily align with your belief system. That's where it begins. If you run into a situation, if you run into a person that does not align with your belief systems or the way you view the world, it can be anything from church, what your religious preference is. It could be what you spend your money on. It could be how you discipline your children. It could be the food that you cook. It could be the food that you eat. And primarily so, it could be when it comes to an individual physical appearance, which we are mainly known for judging of another person's physical appearance versus their actions. Too big, too small, hair too curly, hair too straight, hair too thin, teeth not bright enough, eye color, hair color, choice of clothing, choice of words. These are just some things that I'm just spouting out, guys, because these are things that are obvious. And like I was saying, when I was thinking about the topic today's discussion, I was thinking about the No Judgment Zone and how just about any and everything we pass judgment on. And so, in talking through it today, my goal, what I would like to do is land on, or at least get into a place of agreement on, why do we do these things? Why do we pass judgment? And did you know that we subconsciously pass judgment on people and things? That you may not even just be focused on it, and you see someone that may have on something that you don't like, and all of a sudden, ooh, I wouldn't wear that. I wouldn't be caught dead in that. I sure enough won't be caught in the grocery store shopping, right? And so, yeah, I just want to talk through some of those things, because I don't think any of us I don't think there's anyone other than a babe that has not passed judgment on someone or something. And if you feel the same way, hello, Mark Gabriel, Sebring Country. Now, I'm not familiar with Sebring Country, but do you mind telling me where that is? And you're right, Gabriel. If you're saying family is primarily the ones who pass judgment on you, you might be right. You have some families who are worse than others. They're terrible, terrible in passing judgment on someone, whether it's their sister judgment, brother judgment, cousin judgment. You just name it. Like I said, I don't think anyone can ever say they have never passed judgment on someone. And I'm not just talking. Like I said, it's subconscious as well. You may not even be focused on it. So I'm not talking about, now you do have those individuals. You do have those individuals who are just straight up, just very vocal about it. I have a family member. It's like, oh my God, that person can hear you. Pipe it down. Don't say that. So how many of you guys know someone, whether it's someone in your family or friend, that they are just, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. They just chime in. They don't care where they are. If they see someone with something that they don't like that they have on, they just gonna vocalize. They just gonna speak about it right then and there, and don't care if the person hear them. So yeah, that's what we're talking about today. But where we're gonna land, even though we may discuss some of the things that people may pass judgment on or about, where we want to land is the no judgment zone, meaning getting to a place to where consciously and subconsciously we're gonna define ourselves doing it less. I don't think you can get around it. I don't think there's such thing as not doing it. Do you guys believe me? I mean, Mark, Wago, there's only one God who can judge. That's true. That is so true. You have no disagreement from me there. But Wago and Mark, do you have a situation where maybe yourself, someone passed judgment on you? And if so, I would like to know how to make you feel. Because everyone does not have the same mindset. Everyone does not. Now, explain that to me, Mark Gabriel, just like your mom. If you can just expound on that a little bit more. But you have to be very careful of your critiques. I'm going to say critiques. Critiques is a pretty way or a professional way of saying passing judgment. Critique is judging someone or something. And you have to be careful, to me, and mindful on passing judgment with someone. Now, I'm not talking about in the closet judgment. When you just maybe by yourself and you just speaking on something that you may have saw that you did not like, someone may have had on something that you did not like. I'm talking about those confrontational judgments where you're up in someone's face telling them what it is. Like, I didn't care for this. You shouldn't wear that. Oh, you don't look good in that. There are some people who do that. Believe it or not, there are some people who are so bold and so reckless and careless when it comes to others and how they may make another person feel. They would literally get in their face and tell them how they feel about it. And the reason I say you have to be careful about that, because everyone does not have the same mindset. You may have a person who's very, I don't like to use the word weak-minded, but I'm just going to use the word sensitive, very sensitive. And they take whatever someone tells them to heart. That's what I'm talking about. Being very careful, because it could lead someone to cause harm to themselves. When you find someone who's not strong enough to just, as they say, shake those haters off as in a sense, and they internalize what someone has said to them in a negative way, it could cause them to want to harm themselves or someone else. So at the end of the day, as you can see on my hat here, love. I always talk about love in this show. Love is the way, because if you put love first, and if you treat people the way that you want to be treated, guess what? You won't be so critical. You won't pass judgment, right? Hi, Stephen Provost. Hello, welcome to the show. We're just getting started here. And for those who are just joining, this is Straight Up with Deborah Walter, here every Sunday at 2 p.m. Eastern. And if you have not already, please be sure to like, share, and subscribe, and hit the notification button so you'll know every time that I go live. But my goal, as I have said before, is to always go live on Sunday at 2 p.m. Eastern. And today, what are we talking about? The no judgment zone. The no judgment zone is where we want to eventually land. Now, like I said, I don't think we could completely get away from it, but at least get to a place where it's so subtle and it's just something that you don't do often. However, and the reason I say I don't think you could ever completely get away from passing judgment or critiquing, because everything, your experiences, if you've ever been on my show, I do share that I believe that your experiences in this life, your worldview, it structures the way you see the world. It structures the way you see others, right? And so if you come across a situation that does not align with your viewpoint or your belief, then what you're going to do? The first thing that you're going to do is try to critique it and tear it down and tear it down and tear it down, because you want your way to stand. You want your way to be the truth, right? And I'm going to pivot a little bit because, like I said, I think this topic about judgment touches about every aspect of our lives. And I'm going to go there about religion. I forget the number, there may be over 1,000 or so different brands, I'm going to say brands of Christianity out there, because someone viewed things differently from a spiritual or religious standpoint. Someone saw God differently. Someone saw Jesus differently. Someone made, some religion made, they describe Jesus completely different than Christianity, like some of these other religions. Buddhists, they give it a different name, but in essence, they're talking about the same person. And perhaps in their reading of the ancient texts, they derived at a different meaning. And maybe they derived at a different meaning because their life experience. Maybe it's because how they were raised. Maybe their parents. That's where, our thoughts about God and heaven and hell and all that stuff starts from, how we were being raised, what our parents instill in us, right? And so that's why I say I don't think you will ever get around from passing judgment on a person or a thing or a situation, because what is judgment? It's just critique. And how do you critique something? Based on your experience and your belief system. But what we want to do, or what we should strive to do when we speak about the no judgment zone, is to consider others when we're passing judgment. Not to be cruel, not to be overly negative, not to tear someone down, not to tear someone's self-esteem down. So that's the goal on today's show. How do we move more and more and more closer and closer and closer to the no judgment zone? So I'm going to take a pause right there because I do want to, dive into some questions. And the first one is, what are some ways you can create a no judgment environment in your school or community? How do you think this will impact the people around you? I think that's huge. I think the answer to question number one, if someone has the answer to question number one, I would love to receive your feedback and input on that. What are some ways you can create a no judgment environment in your school or community? I'm going to tell you what I think the school system tried to do and taking a stab at that is when they introduced school uniforms. Because, you had some kids, who may have came from a family who had the financial means to buy them the name brand shoes, to buy them the name brand clothes, to keep the girls' hair done, or to keep the young men's with a nice haircut. But you have some kids who family did not have or do not have the same financial means. And these kids are coming to the same environment with these kids, the haves, I'm going to say the haves and the have-nots, right? Unless they're in a private school. But even in a private setting, you still have those level of incomes, where, some parents have households are doing better than others. And so you have these kids in the same school, in the same environment, and they send these, let's say the kids who are not well-to-do, who may have to wear hand-me-downs from a sister or brother or cousin, have to wear the same pair of shoes for a year, could only get a haircut if Uncle Bob or Uncle John was available to do it, and Uncle Bob always messed the line up. You see where I'm going with that? And so these kids are in the same environment with the kids who are well-to-do, with the latest Jordans or the True Religions, whatever these name brands, these pricey, overpriced name brands are. And those, the ones who don't have, even, they look and they start looking at themselves, and it messes with them emotionally. Some to the point to where they would try to avoid going to school at all costs, because then you have those mean kids. Yeah, you have those mean kids. And 9 times out of 10, the mean kids are the well-to-do kids, because they don't know what it is to struggle or not to have anything, or to not to have to wear hand-me-downs or the same pair of shoes for a year, whatever the case may be. and you got these other kids who may not even know where their next meal is coming from. So I said all that to say this in answering question number 1. What are some ways you can create a no judgment environment in your school or community? I think this school board education system took a first stab at that with mandatory uniforms. And I think to a certain degree, that's a good thing. I do. I think it was a good thing to where they had to wear, the girls had to wear certain, blouses with the button up and the collar, and, they could wear, the skirts with the pleats, but it had to be a certain length, which is a beautiful thing because that's outside the subject, but they're getting higher and higher with the way these girls dressing these days. But anyway, and the boys had to wear a certain color. They had to have a belt on with their school dress pants. But I think if they would have took it a little bit further with the shoes. Now, if you guys don't, if you disagree with me, let me know. We're talking about how the school system, the education system, tried to create a no judgment zone within the schools. Uniforms is definitely one of them. I think it's still a good thing. I think it's still a good thing because I think even in the private school sector, there are mandatory uniforms. And that way the kids will be more focused on learning, getting their education versus worrying about what they're going to look like going to school. Worried about being bullied or picked on because they don't have, nice clothes to wear or the latest name brand shoes. I think it was a beautiful thing when they, introduced that. Because like I said, you want your kids to go to school and be more focused on their education and their learning versus what they have on, right? Because everyone knows in the real world, it does not matter. That does not matter. What you have on, what you wear is not going to pay your bills. It's not going to keep a roof over your head. It's not going to put food in your stomach. And if anything, it does is take away from the monies that you have set aside for your rent and your car note and all that good thing. So it's all about balance. If you've been on this show, I always talk about balance. Everything is about balance. So, back to that, I think it was a beautiful thing. And that was their first attempt. And I think I would like to say it was successful in creating a no judgment zone at the school. Now, what else could they do in that regard? Well, I think maybe if they had a actual no judgment zone or carve out some time during the school day where you may have a group of your peers is oversaw by maybe the school counselor, and is oversawn by the school counselor, but is maintained by a group of your peers, girls and boys, and they have an opportunity to meet up at a particular time throughout the day, and it is called the no judgment zone, and they are allowed to come there and to air their concerns or maybe vent out things that may have happened to them during that day. And I get it. You guys may say, I'm trying to make sure I don't miss any of these questions. Okay, about a bust. Okay, I don't know what that means, but hey, thank you for joining the show. But back on to what I was saying. I know that's, you would say that's the purpose of the counselor, but to me, and I think that's a beautiful thing that the counselors are there. The counselor will actually be a part of this initiative, the no judgment zone. Like I said, they will oversee it to make sure, the kids are conducting themselves in the way that they should. Maybe they could lay down the guidelines. The counselor can lay down the guidelines about the no judgment zone and just make sure things are being, are flowing and operating as they should. So you can get a benefit out of this opportunity, right? And so it's managed by the kids themselves, and it's just an opportunity for them to go in and just share things, their thoughts, their feelings or whatever. Because 9 times out of 10, it would, at least for me, I would confide more so in my friend versus another adult. For whatever reason, at that age, kids tend to listen to their peers, other kids in the, around their age. And I think that could help create a no judgment zone, and the kids can, can start building from there. And I think it'll be a beautiful thing. That's just my thought on that. That's just my suggestion. That's just my recommendation. I'm not a therapist, a counselor. I'm not, certified in any of this. As you know, I come on here and I just talk about day-to-day life, right? How we are impacted on a day-to-day basis. Look to grow the community, to have like-minded people to come here as well and share their feedback, share their thoughts. What are you going through on a day-to-day basis? What are your struggles? How did you overcome it? What were some of your resources? Did you lean on family members? Did you lean on friends? Did you use AI? That's another resource that is just growing and buzzing and buzzing. And I think it's going to be used more and more. But, how do you get through your day-to-day struggles? And it's not all about, the negative or the bad. It's beautiful to come here also and share the positive things. I think that, that's beautiful as well. All right, I'm going to take a little pause just to make sure I haven't missed any questions, make sure I haven't missed anyone. But if you have just joined, this is Straight Up with Deborah Walter. And today we're talking about the no judgment zone. Everyone does it. Everyone passes judgment. I don't care who you are. I don't care your financial standing. I don't care about, your religious affiliation. I don't care about your social circle. I don't care who you are. It doesn't even matter how old you are. It's unavoidable. You're going to pass judgment on something. And as I said, critique is just another fancy way of passing judgment on something. Because if you see something that does not align with you, something that you don't believe in, you're going to chime in. You may voice it to somebody else. You may, just talk about it in your own mindset. It doesn't matter. You're going to pass judgment. But, the goal, as I mentioned, is to get to a place to where, we can move closer and closer into the no judgment zone. Meaning you can just see someone, oh, okay, I don't like the way she wears her hair. I think it's too loud. You sit in church and someone comes in with all these different colors in their hair, and you sitting on your, with your nose turned up. That's another way you don't even have to use words these days, or whenever. You don't even have to use words to pass judgment. Just the look on your face alone tells the story. So that person who done bust up in the church while the service already got started, and they hair different colors, and that's just who they are. That's what they're comfortable with doing. They're comfortable in their skin and how they do their hair. But your opinion is that's not suitable for church. You shouldn't have came up in here with it like that. You should have put it up in a nice bun or ponytail or doo-wop or whatever. But see, that's your opinion. That's you passing judgment, right? As long as that person came to the church to get the same that you come to get, hear the word or whatever, you're coming for some hope or some inspiration. They're not disruptive in church. They're not disrupting the service. You just don't like that hair. You don't wait. It's an eyesore for you. Well, guess what? Turn around and keep it pushing. If you were paying attention to the pastor anyway, let me say it again for the ones sitting in the back pew. If you was paying attention to the pastor anyway, and if you would have came to church early enough anyway to where you're not sitting in the back of the church, you would have paid that person no mind. So what are we talking about here? Moving into the no judgment zone. As I said, we all do it. All right, I'm going to take a moment to catch this comment from Mr. Sugar Dad. Okay. Everyone carries a hidden story, struggles, joys, and growth shape who they are. Absolutely. Absolutely. Judging overlooks their complexity and humanity. Makes them feel good about themselves, huh? Makes them feel good to size someone else up. Makes them, it's a way, and as you said in your comment, some people use it as a tool to build themselves up to mask their insecurities, I believe. All right, choosing empathy over snap opinions builds understanding and respect. Absolutely, I love this. Celebrating our shared journey instead of dividing us. Absolutely. And William Smith said, come as you are doesn't mean stay as you. You better say that again. You better say that again. Mr. Sugar Daddy and William Smith, you guys have said a mouthful. I've only been on here for 25 minutes, and your words alone have said a mouthful. I love that. I love that. Choosing empathy over snap opinions builds understanding and respect, celebrating our shared journey. You would not believe how much we have in common with people, regardless of their financial standing, regardless of what neighborhood they live in, regardless of what stores they shop at the very root of who we are. We share a lot in common. We all have our struggles. We have our ups and downs. You know, if you're parents, you may go through things with your kids. You know, if you have, sisters and brothers, you may go through things with your sisters and brothers. You may have a financial downfall that you got to climb your way out of. It does not matter. And Mr. Smith, come as you are doesn't mean stay as you are. Absolutely. Absolutely. If you're coming to, and that should be your focus, right? Now, I'm just going to have to chime in on this, and I'm not going to harp on the church folk too much. That's something, I grew up in the church, Pentecostal, and I have evolved spiritually and have been allowed, the Creator has allowed me to get a better understanding, because I don't know all the ins and outs about creation, but even though I seek to learn and to better understand and to have an open mind. So no, I'm not a church goer. I'm not one of those people that go to church on Sundays or whatever, but I don't knock those that do. But I will say, when I did go, oh my goodness, the sisters with those big old hats, purple and blue and gold and white and black and two-piece suits, and the men too. It was like a fashion show to see how Sister Barb was gonna turn up in church on this given Sunday, to see if you can outdress Sister Barbara. What they pulling up in? Oh, y'all got y'all a new Cadillac? Oh, y'all got y'all new Cadillac? All right, I got you. We gonna go get us a Lincoln. Now, I know I ain't lying. Now, I've been out of church for a minute, but I know I ain't lying. And what I just described probably got 10 times worse. Tell me if I'm wrong. Drop a comment. Mr. Sugar Dad and William Smith, others on this live. Y'all tell me if I'm wrong about the church. Is it still a fashion show? Has it gotten worse? Has it gotten worse? Because in answering question number 1, in the school system, how can they create no judgment zone? Now, I know, if I'm not mistaken, high schoolers don't have to wear uniforms. And I know they up in there trying to outdo who got the latest Jordans, who got the latest this, who got the latest that. Oh, who did your lace front, and oh, that don't look good, and the lashes and the. So I know if it's gotten that bad in the high schools, I know it's 10 times worse in the church. Because I'm telling you, I used to belong to the church, and it's just amazing. After over 15 years, I can still hear this pastor's words, that he drive the only Cadillac with a diamond cut rooftop in the city. Now, what is that? Who he trying to outdo? Who he trying to grandstand on? Judgment. All comes back from judgment, how people see you, how you want to be viewed by people. And at the end of the day, it's just be yourself. Express who you are. It's so less stressful to be and to accept who you are as an individual versus trying to compare yourself to someone else. You're doing the Creator an injustice when you're trying to be like someone else, outdo someone, have a bigger house, have a better car. Just be you. God created you uniquely and divinely you. Just be you. Stand in your glory. And being an individual person, stand in your glory. And knowing that your life experiences have led you to where you are today, and no one can take that from you. No one can pass judgment on it, because no one has walked in your shoes. Have they took similar steps? Perhaps. Have they responded to certain things similarly? Perhaps. But it's not, you are not them and they are not you. I'm going to jump back in these comments right here. Mr. Sugar Daddy, some say Christ embodies youth events feel like fashion shows with more focus on trendy outfits than faith. I knew it. And Mr. Sugar Daddy, I figured you were going to have an answer on that. I knew it. And Moore says, Mr. Sugar Daddy says, some Christians prioritize appearances, turning church into a special stage, speaking status, or admiration through flashy attire. It can overshadow worship, shifting focus from praising the Lord to impressing others, and it can distract from your faith and your truth. Why are you going? Why are you going to church? Why are you going? If you're trying to outdress Sister Sarah over here, if you're trying to outdrive Brother Paul over here, he got him the latest Cadillac, so you're going to go get you the latest Lincoln. It's all in that judgment zone. And we are trying to do what? Get into the no judgment zone. Compare yourself to who? Yourself. It's the greatest comparison. Do you hear me? I'm going to say it one more time. Compare yourself to yourself. I can't help myself. I got to say it one more time for the ones who just joined and trying to sneak in from the back. Compare yourself to yourself. It is the most empowering feeling. It is the most freeing feeling. Freeing yourself from all judgments, and critiques from other people, because at the end of the day, who are they? I don't care if you sit at the top of the tallest mountain. Who are you compared to the Creator? Who are you, even when it comes to me? Because whether you believe the same thing that I believe in the same Creator I created, at the end of the day, we are both created from the same source. That's all I'm saying. We were both created from the same source. I don't care what you drive, how much money you have, it does not matter. Compare yourself to yourself. Meaning, okay, is there something you want to accomplish in life? Write down those goals and start tackling one by one. But let those goals be your goals, and not because someone else, you see someone else doing something, you want to outdo them. Now, that's different from being motivated from other people's efforts and being inspired. That's the word I'm going to use. It's okay to be inspired by what other people do. There is nothing wrong with that. But in your inspiration and your aspiration, don't let it become a competition. I like how I said that. I'm going to have to say that again. In the midst of your inspiration and aspiration, don't let it become a competition. In the midst of your inspiration and aspiration, don't let it become a competition. Because at that point, you're not doing it for yourself. You're doing it to outdo someone else. Do you? I think that's that's a trending saying these days. Do you, boo? And I'm telling you, look, do you? Be in competition with yourself. It's all within you. It's all within you. And if you just focus on yourself, and just regardless of what whoever's doing on the left and to the right, in front of you, behind you, just focus on yourself. And I get it. Easy, even as I'm saying these words. Oh, you make it sound so easy. Deborah, you make it sound so easy. I know it's not, but with practice comes perfection. You got to practice it. You got to start somewhere. And there are going to be some times you may falter or whatever. And, a person may make you feel a certain type of way. And especially the ones, especially the ones who try to grandstand on you. Especially the ones who go out their way to do certain things and try to flash it in your face. And try to grandstand on you, make you feel a certain way. Like, oh, you can't afford to do this. You can't afford to drive this. You can't afford to eat over here. You can't afford to wear this. You can't afford to send your kid to private school. There's a place for those people. There is. You reap what you sow. Just remember that. You reap what you sow. But I promise you, if you just focus on yourself, It's a beautiful thing. I think I got some more comments from Mr. Sugar Daddy. Yeah, I do. Church folks strut into flex their Sunday best. Look, they even got a show called Sunday Best. I know that was about singing, but baby, it was about to dress it too. But yeah, I agree with you, Mr. Sugar Daddy. Church folks strut in to flex their Sunday best, eyeballing each other's fits like it's a runway. And baby, don't let it be Easter. Is Easter coming up? When is Easter? Easter is coming up. Oh, I think that is the grandest fashion show of all at church. You know what? No, I ain't gonna do that. I'll go be a little messy. I said I haven't been to church in a while, but I'll make it my point, my purpose in the year 2025 to bust up in somebody's church and just sit back and watch and see the outfits roll through. But I ain't gonna do that. I ain't gonna do it. I know that's messy. All right. Meanwhile, the Lord's like, let me go back. Eyeballing each other fits like it's a runaway. Meanwhile, the Lord's like, y'all here for me or the fashion police? Yeah, only God can judge. And here goes some judgment for you. God is saying, the Lord is saying, are y'all here for me or the fashion police? That's a question that needs to be answered across the board at these churches. Now, I'm gonna ask a question. Maybe y'all can help me. Maybe y'all can help me with this. I'm gonna get off the church folk. I'm gonna get off of y'all. I'm sorry. I just gotta say this last thing. Is it worse? Is the fashion show worse? And the car show, fashion show, and the car show. Is it worse at Black churches, Latino churches, or white churches? I'm just gonna use those three. I know there's other denominations and the nationalities, but I'm just gonna focus on those three. Is the fashion show and the car show worse? Mean they go out their way to try to outdo each other. Is it worse at the Black churches, the white churches, or the Latino churches? Somebody let me know. And in the meantime, thank you for joining Straight Up with Deborah Walter. Like I said, I try to keep it straight up, try to keep it honest. Here to just talk about day-to-day life, trying to inspire others and be inspired by the community as well. And today, if you just joined us, we are talking about the No Judgement Zone. One, understanding what judgment is and try to move closer and closer and closer into the and land into the no. Well, I'm say closer to the no judgment zone because I don't want to, move away from the fact that, as I stated, there's no way to completely just be in the no judgment zone because we do it consciously and subconsciously. But the goal is to not, tear down someone else. And that's what we've been talking about. All right, I'm hoping somebody answer my question about the car show and the fashion show at the churches. I want to know who's doing it best. Is the black churches doing it best? Is the white churches? Is the Latino churches? Who cutting up out there? In the meantime, I got question number 2. What do you think people often judge others quickly based on appearance or stereotypes? How can we train ourselves to be more open-minded and understanding? To me, I think it's appearance, to be honest. If you guys disagree with me, I think the judgment is coming more so from appearances versus stereotypes. Let me see if I got an answer before I start going back into that question. Oh, Mr. Sugar Daddy, you own it. White church rocks khaki like it's... All right, okay, let me stop. White churches rock khaki like it's a golf tournament. Black churches slay with hats bigger than the sun. I told y'all about them hats. Look, I don't know if it's in like the regular, I know in Kojic, baby, them hats is like a staple. It's a staple. But Latino church wins. What is that? Abule, judge your tie while what? Abuela. Okay, abuela. That's how you said it. So the Latino churches win. Abuela judge your tie while salsa dancing to Jesus. Fashion show. More like holy couture. See, Mr. Sugar Daddy, I'm trying to get out the church thing, and you got me cutting up on here. You got me cutting up on here. More like holy couture chaos. I love that. I love that holy couture chaos. Absolutely. Stop the fashion show. Stop the car show. Go to the church and get something from the sermon. That's all I got to say. And we need to start with the pastors. Only the Cadillac with a diamond cut rooftop pastor. So yeah, you put on the spot too. So cut it out. So I think. So back to the question. I think judgment comes more so from appearance, and I think that has been fueled so much on social media platforms. Y'all don't get me wrong. I love how technology has made our lives a little bit easier, I like how it has provided a way to have open communication in ways that we could have not imagined. The ability to use like FaceTime if you have an Apple phone. I remember when that was a thought, being able to call someone on a watch and be able to see them while you're talking to them. But you have that ability on the Apple phone using FaceTime, so you can talk to someone who could be way across the waters, hold a conversation with them just like that. And you get to see their expressions in real time versus just hearing their voice on the phone. Which I grew up in the era with the landline phone in the house, right? And so it is amazing. Do not get me wrong, but with every technological advancement, there's a disadvantage. I'm going to say that once again. With every technological advancement, there is a disadvantage. Because although technology has opened up this world to all people and races and places, it just provides more space for predators to grow, for people to be victimized, people to be tore down socially, emotionally. And so when you're talking about judgment, especially if you put yourself out on a platform like I'm doing today, I don't get on here with the sew-ins or the lace fronts and the eyelashes. This is Deborah. This is me. I don't even have the desire to try to get on here and present to you guys someone that I'm not on a day-to-day basis, right? We all, glam up, try to look good and pretty when we go into a special event or you're going out on a date or whatever. But on a day-to-day basis, that is not my life. And I beg to defer the ones who do get on social media platforms and always looking together with the lashes and the weaves and whatever. If you caught them on the day-to-day just out and about, they're probably not like that either. Or you got those ones who have become so insecure because they've done the weaves and the lashes and the makeup so much that they're insecure in showing the world themselves, them authentic selves. So I think social media has hurt us in that way. Technology providing the ability to see people and face with people from all across the world and nationalities and time zones. And 9 times out of 10, especially celebrities, they out there showing you their best side, all put together. And then you're looking at yourself and you're judging yourself. Lord knows, okay, the BBLs became a popular thing. Glad to hear that it's trending down, that people are, going away from that. Beautiful thing. Or even showing, the skinny girls with the nice bras and you just name it. It's all a stage, it's all a show on there. And the people who are sensitive, like I said, I don't like to say weak-minded, they think that's real life. They think that's real world. And they try to compare themselves to that. They try to live up to that, which is not the thing to do. You cannot compete out there in that world of social media. You cannot. You're going to start hating yourself. You're going to start doubting yourself. And your self-esteem is going to end up in the toilet. That's why it's so important for you to understand that social media is nothing but a world stage, a show, a costume show. Now, don't get me wrong. There are some people who get out there and just show you their authentic selves. No makeup, no weave, no nothing. They comfortable who they are, and that is a beautiful thing. That's a beautiful thing. And so, yes, I think it's more so judgment is more so passed on appearance. And it's because, social media has put appearances on the main stage, right? And you just got to look through that and know that is not day to day. That is not day to day living. I'm telling you, like celebrities and people, that's a small percentage of the world. Very small percentage of the world. You got hardworking people who get up in the morning, 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning, work 8 to 10 hour days, nurses working 12-hour shift, doctors. You think they care about weave and makeup and eyelashes? No, they ain't got time for that. Especially if they're raising a family, what they're gonna do after they get home? 9 times out of 10, mom or dad, somebody got to put food on the table, help the kids with the homework, clean up, do laundry, whatever the case may be, and then whatever little time they have left for themselves, they want to rest. They want to get some rest. So, and I'm not saying don't beautify yourself. Don't do things to make yourself feel good. Please don't take that from what I'm saying. But I'm just saying, be your authentic self. Do you. Compare yourself to no one but yourself. If you want to do the weaves and the lashes or whatever, that's fine. Do that. But be comfortable also in not doing it and showing the world who you are without all of that on. Okay? That's all I'm saying about that. So, and as far as stereotypes, like I said, all of it, stereotypes to me, that is based on your foundation of beliefs. It could change, along with your views changing. So, and that's why I think it's more so on appearance. All right, I'm going to slow down, make sure I haven't missed any questions and then or comments. And I'm going to go on to question number 3. Can you think of a time when you felt judged? How did it affect your behavior or feelings? What could have been done differently to create a more accepting atmosphere? I got to use school, grade school, middle school as the platform to answer this question, or the scenario to answer this question. To me, that's why I feel kids are the most bullied. That's why I feel kids are the most teased in school while they're going to school. And it goes back to question number 1, what can be done to create a no judgment environment in school? The uniforms was a beautiful idea. Whoever came up with that, hats off to you. Hats off to you, because every household ain't got the same financial standing. Every household is not able to buy the kids the Jordans and the True Religions and whatever trending brands that are out there today. So I think uniforms is a beautiful thing. And I think, like I said, that, and the reason they did it because they understand. They understood. They saw that that's where the kids get the most harassment, the most bullying is from kids at school. And that's when the kids, they're just so susceptible to those type of attacks, to where yes, it hurts them emotionally. It makes them, like I said, if they're in such a toxic environment, always getting bullied and harassed, and no one try to do anything about it, then it starts to eat away at their self-esteem. All kids are made the same. You got some kids that are able to say, or whatever, that don't bother me, and move on. But then you got some who just internalize stuff like that. And I think it's important for the schools to still, I think that's an opportunity for the schools to do even more there. And like I said, the having a no judgment zone at school, to where the kids feel safe amongst their peers talking about things, with it being overseen by the school guidance counselor. I think that could help. That could help, because you'll find, like, the average bully is someone who's been mistreated themselves. Lack of, what my head say, love. Love is the key. Love is the key. If we loved ourselves as we should, if we treat our sisters and brothers as we should, love thy neighbor as thyself, I think you will see less and less of these things happening in our world. Less and less of these things happening in our society. And it's important to start with the kids. Start when they're young. Help to build faith in themselves. Show them you're beautiful in the skin that you're in. It doesn't matter what the shade is. It doesn't matter if you're white, black, brown, chocolate. It does not matter if you're beautiful the way that you are. God, the Creator, knew what he was doing when he made us unique and different from each other. So why would you want to be like someone else? Like I said, you're doing the Creator an injustice. and trying to mimic someone else's life, appearance, or whatever. If you like I said, it's a difference between being inspired, but don't try to compete and compare, right? That's all I'm saying. And I think we'll get to that place, as the topic is, the no judgment zone. Be free to be you. Believe in yourself. And even the strongest person, you may find a person, you may come across a person in your life and be like, she really got it together. She carries herself with such poise. You know, she looks unbothered. You know, she could care less what anyone thinks about her. But believe it or not, even that person has some sort of insecurity. And they have just practiced enough and mastered enough to not allow those things to get them down. It doesn't mean that they're not still dealing with it, that things don't still present themselves to them. It's just that they have gotten good enough and love themselves enough to not allow other people's judgment to take them down, to make them feel bad about themselves. And I think practice, what did I say? Practice makes perfect. Practice makes perfect. Even if you got to look at yourself in the mirror and say, I am who I am. I love who I am. I am who I am. I love who I am. If you could just maybe do that 3 times a day and tell yourself that until it gets programmed into your mind. It ain't no different than what social media is doing. You look at enough of these social media TikTokers and Facebookers and Instagrammers. You look at them enough, you're going to start want to be like them. So be your own social media platform, in your bathroom, in your mirror, telling yourself how good you look, how smart you are, how talented you are, and how accomplished you are. I think that's a start. All right, I think we're going to have time to get to one more question. That is question number 4. How can celebrating differences among people lead to a stronger and more supportive community? Can you provide examples of situations where diversity has been beneficial? I think diversity has been beneficial going back to the school system, just so the kids can see, you know, even though you may not look like me, your skin color is not like mine, your hair texture is not like mine, you don't wear your hair like mine, you don't talk like I do, you have a little accent, you from another country, but you know, kids, it's just beautiful, because they're so innocent, and kids are not grown, or they don't come out the womb passing judgment, or when they get to a point to where they can think and talk and speak, they don't come out passing judgment. They just see each other as they are. And I think schools, integrating schools, removing segregation and blending and seeing that, hey, regardless of how my parents feel about such and such, y'all are not like that. You're a cool person. I like you, Ted. I like you, Bob. You're cool. Yeah. We're not so different. And it's such a disadvantage that we judge each other about our appearances, thinking that just because you're a certain skin color, or you drive a certain car, live in a certain house, that you're so different. And that is not the case. So if we just start seeing each other for who we are, accepting each other for who we are, loving each other for who we are, what you can bring to help inspire that person's life and vice versa, I think it will make the world a much better place. It will. Can we please get there, people? Can we please stop being so judgmental? Can we please do that? It is 2025. There's beauty in our differences. There's beauty in our uniqueness. We all have something to offer this world, because if it was not so, the Creator would have not put you here. So can you start focusing on yourself? Can you start believing in yourself? Can you start accepting who you are? And open yourself and say, okay, Creator, what is it that you created me for to do? I want to start focusing on that. I want to try to make that happen before my time expires. Hi, Sydney Felix. Oi, is that Canadian? Sydney? Oi. Trying to figure out what country you're from, Sydney. Hello, where are you from? Oi, is that, you mean Ireland? I don't know. Tell me where you're from, Sydney, because I hear that. Brazil. Oh, welcome to the show. Thank you. Because I'm trying to figure out, no, oi means hello, but I just couldn't figure out where you're from. So welcome to the show. I'm glad you are here. We are just talking about the no judgment zone and how we all consciously and subconsciously pass judgment on others, whether it is in appearances, our deeds, our religion, car we drive, whatever the case may be. There's a plethora of things that we pass judgment on people about. And, the goal after today's discussion is try to move into a place, move closer to the no judgment zone, because I believe that no one can land in the no judgment zone. Because even though you may not verbalize it, you may think about it, because this person wearing something that you wouldn't necessarily wear, and you're going to look at it and be like, oh, I would never wear that. But all in all, we are all uniquely designed. We are all uniquely purposed to be here by the Creator. And as I was saying, to try to focus on ourselves. Do you, boo, as they say. Do you, boo, as they say. In your life, it would be, less stressful if you just accept who you are and be glad about who you are. That's all we're saying. So I'm going to make sure I tackle question number 4 properly. Can you provide examples of structure, situation where diversity has been beneficial? As I was saying, diversifying the schools, removing segregation. I think it was a beautiful thing. People may have their own opinion, but like I said, children are so innocent, and the last thing they do, when they learn to walk and talk, is pass judgment on others. And so grown folk can learn from that. We can learn from the innocent, children, how to conduct ourselves. Maybe that's what we need to go back and pay attention to them. If you got toddlers, in preschool or whatever, or even, grade school, ask the teacher, can you just sit in one day and just observe how the kids interact with each other? I think it's a beautiful, maybe that's what we need to just take a roll back and just observe how children interact with each other. They're so innocent. So innocent. So I don't know, somewhere along the way in life experience, I don't know, we get tainted, we get jaded from hurt and pain or whatever. And I think that's why we judge people. We lash out on people to try to make ourselves feel better, to lift our spirits. But you don't want to build your joy and your happiness on the same pain and suffering on what you have caused someone else. It's just not, it's not so. It should not be so, because as the good word say, you shall reap what you sow. Karma is real. And if you've ever been on my show, you understand there's good karma and there's bad karma. Sow good seeds. So when harvest time comes, your blessings will be plentiful. Cause harm to no one. That's what I say. Cause harm to no one. Be your own champion. Be your own person. Compare yourself to yourself. Set goals based on something you want to accomplish, not because you want to one-up somebody else. Because in doing the opposite, you just stress yourself out. So free yourself. It's easier said than done, absolutely. But practice makes perfect. And why not start today? Love who you are. Look in the mirror and love who you are. Now, there's going to be those people out there. You can't control other people. You can't control someone, what someone may say or think about you. But do you care? Unless they just get so vulgar and so disrespectful with you, like they're all up in your face and all this and that. There's a way you can handle that as well. Say what you got to say, walk away. But if it, put the law in, call the law if it gets to that point. Because I do understand, I'm not naive. I do understand you have those type of people in this world, in this life, that seek to kill and destroy others. And even for those individuals, all of it comes back to a lack of love. And so that's, apparently we got enough time for our final question. I'm going to go and get to it. What role does empathy play in reducing judgment and promoting acceptance? How can practicing empathy change the way we interact with others? Absolutely. If you see someone that's less fortunate than you, don't pass judgment on them. Like, using a vehicle as you driving around in the lady's Mercedes, and Sue over here, she's driving a tore down I don't know, Kia or whatever, she ain't driving the best, she the tailpipe is smoking, is making noise every time you have empathy instead of judging and looking and turning your nose up. And pray for that person. Pray that they have better, get better days to where they can afford a vehicle that's more reliable. That way. That's what we do. Have empathy for a person's situation, because guess what? You may be up today and you can be down tomorrow. You may be sitting up on that mountaintop today, and next day you can be in the valley. You never know. It's the ebbs and flow of life. But be grateful. Be grateful and pray for those who are less fortunate. And the last thing before I sign off, pass no judgment if you can. Let's move closer and closer into the no judgment zone. Well, that's all I have to share for today. It has been a beautiful topic of conversation. I have learned something today because, based on some of the feedback that you guys have shared, it has been a blessing to me. And I hope you have some of the things that I have shared has resonated with you as well. Look to be back here next Sunday, straight up with Deborah Walter. If you have not join, like, share, and subscribe, please do so. And know that you are beautifully made. You are uniquely and divinely made by the Creator, and embrace who you are. Have a blessed Sunday. Thank you.